Hawaii is a tropical paradise, a land blessed with spectacular beauty and the spirit of aloha. Dana Ireland was smart, fit, and full of life. She loved the big island of Hawaii. On Christmas Eve, 1991, Dana's life was stolen. She was deliberately run over while riding her bicycle, sexually assaulted, dumped into the bushes, and left to die. A local man confessed to the murder and said 2 brothers helped him. The man recanted his confession, but no one believed him.
It's like the story of the boy who cried wolf. Once you start to tell the truth, nobody gonna listen.
Crime scene DNA did not match any of the 3 men, but all 3 were convicted anyway. It raises questions. Are the 3 convicted men innocent scapegoats? Why aren't the police pursuing the man who left his male DNA on Dana Ireland? Why was exonerating new DNA evidence locked up by court order and not given to the convicted men? Welcome to Murder in Hawaii, Dana Ireland. Why wrongful convictions happen. My name is Michael Heavey. I'm a retired judge and CEO of Judges for Justice. A little background about Judges for Justice. From 2000 to 2013, I was a Washington State Superior Court judge, presiding in King County. On November 1st, 2007, there was a shocking crime in Perugia, Italy. A British exchange student, Meredith Kircher, was brutally murdered and sexually assaulted. Within days, 3 suspects were arrested for the murder. The news of the arrests went around the world. One of the 3 suspects was a neighbor girl of ours in West Seattle. Her name was Amanda Knox. My oldest daughter was a classmate of hers, and they carpooled together to Seattle Prep, Seattle's Jesuit high school. Also arrested were a local bar owner by the name of Patrick Lumumba and Amanda's Italian boyfriend, Raphael Celescito. All 3 of the suspects were innocent. Within 2 weeks of arrest, Patrick was released. His DNA was no match to male DNA left at the crime, and he had a solid alibi. It would take much longer for Amanda and Raphael to be released. I volunteered to help Amanda's family. By summer 2008, I saw there was no evidence against Amanda and Raphael. However, there was overwhelming evidence against a local drifter by the name of Rudy Guede. On CNN in 2013, I explained that Rudy Guede was the sole killer of Meredith Kircher.
Judge Heavey, you've always been a strong supporter of Amanda Knox's. It's a very divisive case. Many people have strong opinions on both sides of this. Why do you feel so strongly, with your exemplary legal background, that she is 100% innocent?
Mr. Morgan, 5 years ago, October of 2008, less than a year after the murder of Meredith Kircher, Rudy Guede, overwhelming evidence, Meredith's blood, his palm print, DNA all over her body and on her clothes, admits to being there, was convicted and sentenced to 30 years in prison, later reduced on appeal. He is the sole killer. In Italy, a criminal trial has 3 possible verdicts. Guilty and not guilty, like we do, but they also have a 3rd possible verdict. Innocent. Did not commit the crime. After being found guilty of rape and murder in 2009, on October 3rd, 2011. An appellate judge and jury found Amanda and Raphael innocent. They did not commit the crime. Amanda flew immediately home to Seattle. In 2015, the Italian Supreme Court completely exonerated Amanda Knox and Raphael Sollecito by ruling they were innocent. They did not commit the crime. Out of this experience came my interest in studying why wrongful convictions happen. Judges for Justice was co-founded in 2013 by retired Judge Peter Deegan of Michigan and me. You're looking at a 2019 photo of us at a Michigan Judges Conference, where I gave a presentation on why wrongful convictions happen. In 2017, 4 years after Judges for Justice began, we had success in helping an innocent Idaho man, Chris Tapp, obtain his freedom from prison. Tapp had spent 20 years and 52 days locked up for a crime he had nothing to do with. In April 2013, I gave a presentation at the University of Hawaii Richardson School of Law in Honolulu. I spoke on the Amanda Knox case and why wrongful convictions happen. It was from that event I learned about 3 questionable murder convictions on the Big Island of Hawaii. Murder in Hawaii is a 14-episode documentary series on why wrongful convictions happen. In our film, we discuss a number of wrongful conviction cases, but our main focus is the 3 convictions for the 1991 kidnapping, rape, and murder of Dana Ireland. Wrongful convictions happen in every state. They happen in urban New York City and in rural areas like eastern Idaho. Judges for Justice believes the Hawaii murder convictions of Frank Pauline, Albert Ian Schweitzer, and Sean Schweitzer are wrongful. Ultimately, however, that is for you, the viewer, to decide. The 14-episode journey is a little over 6 hours of viewing time. But if you join us, you'll probably take more time than that. You will want to stop and look at the evidence, like police reports, lab reports, and photos. You will want to evaluate the legal concepts we discuss, like what exactly is circumstantial evidence, due process, and equal protection. We will see how the concept behind the corpus delicti rule can be used to effectively evaluate if a confession is true or false. We will look at the type of crime that FBI profilers call a disorganized sexual homicide. Our studies have shown that the more horrific and deviant the crime, the more likely there's going to be a wrongful conviction. The murder of Dana Ireland was a shocking crime. Warning, the description of the injuries is graphic. On December 24th, 1991, about 5 p.m., 23-year-old Dana Ireland was riding her bicycle on the Big Island of Hawaii. She was almost to her parents' rental house where the Ireland family was going to have Christmas Eve dinner. A motor vehicle approached her from behind and moved into the left oncoming lane as if to give the cyclist plenty of room. The driver drove past Dana and then stopped in the left oncoming lane. As Dana rode past the stopped vehicle, the driver suddenly accelerated, his tires spinning on the cinder road. He drove into her, crushing the bicycle and dragging her under the vehicle. A local resident, Anna Sherrill, was the first to come upon the crash site. She called emergency services at 5:25 p.m.
There's a bicycle completely crushed there. The girl's shoes out in the street. Some of her hair ripped off her from the impact. I can't see a body.
1 minute after Anna Cheryl's call, the emergency dispatcher received a call from Dana's father, John Ireland.
She has blonde hair. She is 23 years old. There's pieces of her hair, a shoe, and no sign of her. Somebody has taken her somewhere. There's been nobody there. All that we've seen is a bike in the road.
After being run over, Dana is taken to a remote location, 5 miles away. There, she is dumped into the undergrowth, sexually assaulted, and left to die. Dana died from her injuries in the Hilo Hospital operating room at 12:25 a.m., Christmas morning, 1991. The state of Hawaii is made up of 8 main islands. The largest of these is the island of Hawaii, often called the Big Island. On the east side of the island is the largest city and county seat, Hilo. South of Hilo is the Puna district. Dana was assaulted in the Kapoho area, 30 miles south of Hilo, just off Highway 137 on a street named Kapoho Kai Drive. Dana is attacked near the intersection of Kapoho Kai Drive and Ililani Road. This is crime scene 1. This is a view of the intersection in January 2018. We are looking west up Kapoho Kai Drive with Ililani Road coming in from the north on our right. The silver Ford SUV's left rear taillight is the approximate location where Dana Ireland was struck by the motor vehicle. In 1991, both Ililani and Kapoho Kai were cinder roads. Ililani was only 12 feet wide. Kapoho Kai was about 26 feet wide. Due to the volcanic eruptions in the summer of 2018, crime scene 1 is now under about 20 feet of new lava. Dana was about a third of a mile from her parents' rental in the Kapoho Vacationland subdivision, where she'd been staying for 2 weeks. Prior to staying with her parents, she had lived with her older sister, Sandy Ireland, and Sandy's boyfriend, Jim Ingham, for 2 months about a mile north of crime scene 1. In a later episode, we will discuss the importance of knowing where Dana Ireland lived prior to the crime. This is an actual police photo of crime scene 2. The blue object is a Jimmy Z brand t-shirt covered in Dana's blood. It is not her t-shirt. It was found at crime scene 2 near Dana Ireland's dying body. If the viewer does nothing else, remember that t-shirt. It is critical to understanding this case. Dana was found at crime scene 2 about 5:30 p.m. by a woman named Ida Smith. She was still alive.
I was getting dinner ready. I just heard some crying. I couldn't find anybody. And I still hear this crying, help me, help me. And then I found her. Pretty terrible. She was pretty bad. Her pants were pulled down to her ankles. And she had her legs together, and she's screaming to get one of the pants off her legs. So I said, okay. She grabbed a hold of my hand and wouldn't let me go, And I said, well, I'm going to pray. You're going to relax. Everything's going to be okay. I'm going to go home and get help. Okay. And then she let my hand go.
Dana's body was partially covered with shrubbery and branches. Her hair was soaked in blood. Her left shoe was missing. Her denim shorts and underwear had been pulled down to her ankles. Her halter top pushed up to her neck, exposing her breasts. There was a bite mark on her left breast. At trial, the prosecutor told the jury, quote, nearly avulsing or biting through the nipple on her breast, end quote. Dana Ireland's pelvis was broken in 2 places and her bladder was punctured. Her left collarbone was broken. Her scalp was torn away, exposing her skull. She had deep abrasions from being dragged under the vehicle on her chest, back, neck, and shoulder. Dr. Charles Reinhold conducted the autopsy. He stated there were numerous external injuries to all major portions of her body. Internally, there was extensive hemorrhaging to Dana's heart, lungs, stomach, and bladder. Dr. Reinhold concluded she died of a massive internal loss of blood. Examination of vaginal swabs identified the presence of spermatozoa, confirming it was a sexual assault. Trial experts agreed that the killer first rammed his vehicle into the rear of Dana's bicycle. Then he ran over her with his vehicle, dragging her underneath his vehicle, tearing off a clump of her hair, breaking her watch off her wrist, and ripping off her still tied left tennis shoe. This ends episode 1. In episode 2, we'll look at the early evidence that investigators found. Witnesses, tire tracks at both crime scenes with matching tread.